Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hi, I'm Jason with Jason Pollock. I am not Jason. Join Jason and Justin back in the green room as they talk with some of their favorite folks from the entertainment industry. And now, the man you haven't been waiting for, Jason Pollock.
Happy Halloween, Justin.
Happy Halloween to you too, Jason.
Justin, I'm listening to you do the announcement just now. How it's called Hi, I'm Jason. You're not Jason. It's fine. I went to see you do your Freddie Mercury tribute the other night in Vineland, as you know, because you saw me there.
Yeah, I saw you.
And I'm watching you, and I'm like, oh my God, I know him. You are a barrel of talent, man. You're just a freaking cargo plane of talent.
Oh, thank you.
You owned that stage. You owned Vineland, New Jersey that night. That was unbelievable.
Oh, thank you, man. No,
People traveled from Pennsylvania to see that. That's not an easy drive.
No, it's I mean, even for me, I mean, it's about an hour south of where I'm at. I mean, it's not as bad as a drive as some of the other ones. I mean, like playing in like Connecticut, and we have a show coming up in Pittsburgh that we're going to be doing at the beautiful Lamp Theater. That's actually just outside of Pittsburgh. But it's a fun show. You know, I obviously for those of you that have seen the show or seen this show before, you know that I don't look like Freddie Mercury. But
no, stop it.
yeah, no. So it's a lot of fun, and the thing is, we're not there to imitate Queen. We're there to recreate the studio. The studio recordings as they arrange them, but in a live concert experience with a bunch of fans. I mean, everyone on stage is a fan, everyone in the audience is a fan, and we're all there to have a good time. And I'm glad to hear that you had a good time too, Jason.
It was phenomenal. Anyway, enough about boosting our own self-esteem and ego. We have a special guest co-host today. Joining us, she's a big lover of horror movies and Halloween. She's the co-host of Mother May I podcast with Frank Conniff. Let's bring out Irene Bremis.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys. Yeah, that circle jerk up front was a lot. I was like, when are they going to bring me on? My time is limited. How are you guys doing? It's always so fun to be here, Jason. I love you, and it's so nice. I didn't realize that you played an instrument or was in a band, Justin. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, actually, I've been working in the music industry for 20 years, and first 10 years of it was actually as an opera singer.
Wow. Okay, you know what, Jason, you're gonna love this too. I went to a friend's birthday party, and they had like these very famous opera singers. I mean, they were very famous. I don't remember their names, but they reminded me a lot of comics, Jason, because they all hang together. And they love to drink and just hang out. It's like weird. They have like a very comedic.
Every sector of the entertainment industry has their own little. It's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you surrounding yourself with? That you go to a party with opera singers?
Okay, so my friend Carmody, she's a makeup artist. She was on that TV show, What Not to Wear. She was the celebrity makeup artist. I don't know if anybody watches that. She's really awesome. Yeah. She had a party, and I forget who they were. I posted a picture on Instagram, but they were insanely talented, big wigs in the opera world. And they all sat at their own table like comics would do. We isolate, we sit with each other, and they were joking and drinking their asses off. And I went up to them and I said, you guys remind me of comedians, you know, because you hang together and whatever. I mean, wow, you're talented, basically, at the end of the day. I'm going to wrap up my own long-winded story.
I mean, who doesn't enjoy an extended circle jerk? I mean, come on. It's
now I'm joining in.
Let's bring the circle jerk out a little further now. Justin, we can't sing a Queen song because of copyright infringement. However, would you bring them out as Freddie Mercury's Yell?
Oh, come on out. Here they are, Barbie Wilde and Simon Bamford.
Our favorite Cenobites.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. You can't do the stomp clap either. I mean,
you got it.
Oh, I got it, Simon.
All right, that was good. Thanks, guys.
That's the show, right?
Before
I'm not sure
Any
how
circle jerk I can be a member of, I'm so privileged. It's
Oh.
what my Yugoslavian Catholic mother would now be saying. I'm so proud that my little daughter grew up to be part of like this massive. She wouldn't even know what those words meant, to be honest. But I'm so proud.
Well, you did
I'm in love
you
with
did come of
Barbie.
age in the
It's been a full disclosure. In love with Barbie. In love that you were also like one of the first female, Cenobites, like this villain. It's almost like groundbreaking, in many ways.
Well, it's wonderful. I mean, I say this all the time, but I didn't have the boobs to be the girl running through the forest in the boob tube, to be honest. I do now. But I'm not the victim, although I do get inexplicably killed at the end of Hellbound, even though we were dead already, right, Sky?
Well, I'm just making notes. Barbie, next role in a boob tube.
No. No. We would just there would be too much to show, and it's no. It's I need restraint now rather than.
Hello.
But no, it's wonderful being a villainess, being
you need a bra raiser.
Sorry?
Bra raiser.
Yeah, bra raiser instead of Hellraiser.
Yeah, the bra raiser. Oh my God, that's hysterical. That's
I thought you said ball raiser.
That's for Simon.
There's a lot of ball raising going on here at this house too. Believe me.
Oh, I fear that this is going to be an X-rated podcast.
Oh well, when I'm on the show, it always is. I met Simon the last time. Jason was so sweet, and he had Simon on my podcast with Mr. Frank Conniff, and he was so funny, and so are you. It seems like everybody on that show is absolutely hilarious and smart and so sweet. Like, what was it like filming with each other?
Well, you know what the thing is? When you're sitting in a chair or having a massive mask over your face for 6 hours or whatever it is, if you don't have a sense of humor, you're going to go postal, basically. I think that you've got to develop a sense of humor, and because the whole process is, as Simon will attest, really unpleasant. And I didn't burst into tears because of only having 4 or 5 hours sleep a night and stuff like that, because I was younger and I could bear it. But it's tough. And there are people who were cleaning up after we left. The makeup artists and stuff were we left at 12 o'clock. They were still there for an hour, and then they were there when we arrived again at 4 or 5. So, but the filming was unpleasant. So if you don't be able to, I used to do songs from Cabaret.
It was good
said about makeup,
Barbie, because I take 6 hours now to do my makeup just before coming on one of these podcasts. So.
You're really 90 years old, Simon. You look phenomenal with that makeup.
He really does.
It is. It's like the setting on his screen is plastic surgery. It's fantastic.
Oh, I heard a funny line. Okay. This lady was on TV, and she'd been away from this morning TV show as a presenter, and said, "What were you doing?" And she said, "I went back to acting during the pandemic." And she said, "Unfortunately, when you only get parts as women dying of cancer if you're over 45 and you haven't had any Botox."
Oh my God.
Sorry, I'm going to bring up the other finger as well. And this deserves double fucking barrels. All right.
Oh God. But really, I keep thinking I'd love to have Botox. And then I see people with Botox and I go,
I don't think so. You already played the role.
I'm really sad.
That's what you were already the undead. Why should you play that role everlastingly in life, right? And Simon was also saying that it was really difficult to stay in that chair, but that he almost went postal, which I think might.
Simon, were you brought to tears in that costume?
Yeah, I did have a little breakdown one day, but nobody heard. So something I coined yesterday, actually, at another podcast, that in latex, no one can hear you scream.
That's so true.
Because nobody knew.
So Simon, I have a question actually about your makeup situation, because I know like Barbie, you had like these things coming out of your cheeks and all these little pieces. Now, was yours the same, or did you just kind of have this monster condom go over for Butterball?
No, I also had things coming out my cheeks, but it wasn't my facial cheeks.
He's so naughty. You see,
This is why we can't have nice things.
It was one head. They made up my face black underneath, so you couldn't see me through the mouth. But it was one piece basically, and then some false teeth glued on top of my own teeth. Quite straightforward.
Oh God.
Do you know that I wouldn't be able to do that? That would just totally make me gag.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot, Simon. If you're claustrophobic, that could be a very scary thing. Seriously, being trapped in a Cenobite costume.
I did a demonic slasher film, and they did a mold of my face. My wife was there when they were putting everything on. It was totally, except for the nose holes. It was my mouth and my nose were completely covered. This whole bottom half of my face. Yeah. My wife was saying things that she knew would get a rise out of me, and loving every moment of it because I couldn't say a word.
Well, it's funny. I remember doing that all over head cast, and it was. I actually panicked.
Yeah,
and they were very aware of actors panicking because I think I was telling this story, and they were telling me there was this guy who just stood up and ripped off all of his, whatever they put over you, plasticine or whatever. And Andy Robinson was sitting next to me, and he went, "That was me." Whatever he had to do in the first one. But they put this stuff over you, and then they wrap these plaster bandages, which warm up and harden. And I could sense, and they don't have any straws coming out of your nose. I could sense the air getting warmer as I was breathing it in. And I thought that it was coming in to my nostrils, and I was going, and somebody held my hand and said, "Barbie, it's okay. Please don't rip this off." Again.
Don't rip this Band-Aid off. I'd rather the costume off, right?
I'd rather you suffocate than rip off the makeup. It's expensive.
Well, it was the cast. It was the cast of it. But I can tell you, when that came off,
I'm just glad that Julia's character got to suffer a little, because she was so glamorous in the first one, and she comes back skinless. But the one thing that I loved about that scene was she wanted a glass of wine and cigarette from the undead, which is exactly what I would do if I got back fresh from. I wouldn't even have my skin on. I'd be like, "Where's my fucking cigarette and a glass of wine?" And it's pouring out of my throat because I'm not fully formed yet.
Yeah, but she was so well. Can you imagine the hit she got from both the cigarette and the wine? But I just love the fact she left a little bit of blood on that
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Of course, it was actually another actress who was super beautiful and super skinny. Not that Claire isn't beautiful, but she was skinless Julia. There was another actress who played skinless Julia.
Oh, and Hellraiser 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain level of stardom, then they get other people who have to go through all the suffering and the pain. And you just get to step
right. Well, I wonder why they did that, because the real Julia wasn't thin enough, so they needed to get somebody that really looked dead for the part.
Because
it was the same with Frank. Frank, the person was different to Frank the monster, and it was because they needed a skinny person wearing a bodysuit with all the bones that you could see through and everything else. So they needed to be like a size. So they got very thin actors.
And we were talking like 2 inches of a bodysuit or something, because you had to have the depth.
That makes sense.
Oliver Smith.
Yeah.
Was Skinless Frank.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah, he's in The Offer as well, our Dark Ditties episode, and he is still very, very, very slim.
Can we get
Dark Ditties are well done?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say but can we get Skinless Frank to be on with Irene and TV's Frank? I think that'd be a great show.
Skinless Irene and skinless Frank. I like it. I like it. Frank would be so jealous because he's really trying to keep his weight down. So this would be a major threat for Frank. There'd be like professional jealousy. So incredible. Like, so have you guys remained friends this whole time since no.
Of course. I adore this guy. I mean, when we could do conventions, we probably shouldn't say, but we have a martini date. It's very important.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Because it's
start with a dry martini evening, don't we?
Always. Usually Saturday night, which is unwise because I can always tell when people post up photographs on Sunday because I go, oh, Barbie Wilde's got her Sunday morning eyes on. Oh, the jet lag really kicks in. And if I don't have a couple martinis with Simon on Saturday night, I'd probably still be up or waking up at 4 a.m. or something. No, it's important. Martinis are very important.
They are. I mean, I can't drink them anymore, but wine is very important to me. That's why I really, really respected Julia's first choice is to have a cigarette and a glass of wine after she came back from hell. I was like, this is good. That would be top of my list.
It's getting to the point where I'm thinking, should I really stop? Because isn't there a wonderful thing from Dorothy Parker about martinis and James Thurber? Should I look it up while we're talking?
Sure.
Well, then while she's looking up, Simon, I'll ask you: are the horror cons coming back for you guys anytime soon?
Oh, I was supposed to do one last week or the week before, but we're still banned. At the moment, we're going over to the US. I think that's being lifted in a few days' time in November. So
in November.
Yeah. I'm not booked for any at the moment, so I'm thinking probably it'll be hopefully next year, things start to open up. It'll all depend how that is doing. I know we've both chatted privately with Doug Bradley, and he done a few over there, but he hasn't felt very comfortable doing them because of the lack of mask wearing and the lack of facilities. So and the judgment, I suppose. So hopefully we missed them. It's been there 2 years. I was supposed to go to Las Vegas last March, last March, and it was literally 2 days before I flew that everything got locked down.
Yeah, I was supposed to do that as well, and I've always been so desperate to do a convention in Vegas, and that was the second one that got canceled for me. It was just really tragic.
Well, what was the first reason? It wasn't a pandemic.
No, I don't know.
Oh, that sounds like a whole other story.
Okay, here's the thing. This is important, okay, guys? James Thurber said, 1 martini is all right, 2 are too many, and 3 are not enough. But this is I actually saw they make glasses with this embossed on the glass. This is Dorothy Parker, one of my heroines. I like to have a martini, 2 at the very most. After 3, I'm under the table. After 4, I'm under my host.
Oh, there it is, kids.
I've made
What a
it
naughty
never
woman.
have 4 martinis. I have to say. Yeah, I think the whole convention thing is very problematic. Obviously, why there's still quarantine things that promoters can't pay for you to quarantine for 5 to 7 days or whatever it is. But I think this is for fully vaccinated people.
There's a con this weekend, and I wanted to go. I haven't been in so many years, but Jamie Farr was going to be there, and I thought I need to go just to meet Jamie Farr, but he canceled due to lack of COVID restrictions.
Right.
Oh, we see if enough people do that, because that's why Doug canceled. He canceled 2 or 3. Because he said, I go there, I'm wearing a mask. People are complaining I'm wearing a mask when I take a picture with them. They're not wearing a mask.
Right. How dare
None of the guests are wearing masks. And he just, even though he's fully vaccinated, he felt really uncomfortable.
Of course they should, because they're breakthrough cases. Everybody knows that. You're not, I mean, the vaccination could save your life, but it's not going to prevent you from getting COVID. Wow. Yeah. Those are demanding fans.
Yeah, a friend of mine who's young and healthy, unlike me, she She went to the cinema. She thought, cool. And she's uber safe, washed her hands, changed her clothes after she came home, wore a mask, and she still got COVID going to the cinema because the guy she was with was asymptomatic and then came down with it. So
I've had a couple of friends that have gone through this. In fact, one of my dear friends, older gent, he was vaccinated. Not sure, and I think it was another member of the family came into the bubble. And they also were vaccinated, but were around someone who wasn't, and they just also had COVID. In fact, Jason, you've actually met this guy, my friend Dimitri. He's an amazing piano player, but his claim to fame is he's the flute player on the song "The Hustle." Yeah, yeah. And so he was in the hospital for like three days in intensive care.
Wow.
And I spoke to him on the phone, and just Justin, I don't care what anyone says. This is no joke. Like, he couldn't get through a sentence, and now he's home, thank God. And the treatment that they gave him, that they had to fly in from Canada, was an experimental thing, and they said if this doesn't take, we're gonna have to start talking about arrangements for Dimitri.
Wow,
And
that's awful.
and thank God the treatment took, and he's sounding good. And he just said, Justin, I'm telling you, I was fine, and then it hit me like a brick shit house.
Right.
And he goes, that's it, And he said, but it's no joke. It's absolutely no joke. So I can understand why our beloved Pinhead,
Of course.
said no dice. I've even just done a couple of shows where I'm like, I'm not going to go out and do my after the show, thank you for coming, unless I know that the audience is completely vaccinated or that they have a negative test. And that's thank goodness, a lot of the venues that I've been doing, that's what it's been. It's either they have to have proof that they are completely vaccinated, or that they have a negative test within the last 48 hours.
Well, I just went to the
sorry, can I just ask one question? I'm sorry, Jason. Was your friend fully vaccinated?
That's what I was going to ask, Barbie.
He was.
Yeah.
He was, and it still hit him like a. Well, I mean, he's also. I mean, come on, he played on The Hustle. He's in his mid 70s. So I mean, he's not a young man in the grand scheme of things, and he. And he, like he said, it just hit him like a brick shit house. Like, it just, and it happened like almost overnight, that once it finally got into his system, it just took it.
Yeah, my neighbor's mother had pneumonia, but she was fully vaxxed. She had COVID pneumonia, but the doctor said, thank God you were vaccinated, could have been a lot worse, and she overcame it.
Yeah.
I went to the Exotica Expo in Edison, New Jersey over the weekend. It's like a Comic-Con of adult material and stars, and they were doing COVID tests on the spot there.
Right.
Cool.
That's the best way.
Good.
That's the best way, Jason. If you really want to be safe, you would have to, and there's always the chance that you're going to get a false negative too. But I think if you really want to be careful, I always said you have to do testing, because there's so many breakthrough cases, and they're more severe than people know, but maybe Dimitri would have died if he was unvaccinated.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is Dimitri Greek by any chance?
So he is. He's Russian. And so he's Russian, and I think he's Russian and Italian, and his wife is Italian. It's an interesting group. It's an interesting family. Yeah, they have one of the oldest balalaika orchestras in this region of the United States. His father started it back in World War II, and me, I play balalaika in the family balalaika orchestra as the token Puerto Rican. Yeah, because you can't have a Slavic orchestra without a Puerto Rican playing balalaika.
That's right. That's absolutely. You need diversity. They know what they're doing. Dimitri is a Greek name. It was stolen from the Russians. They steal everything, just like they did the election. Let me just go on the record and throw that out there for a second.
Yes. His full name, Dmitry Koriga. That's his full name, Dmitry Koriga.
I just want to say, my husband is Russian.
He's a Russian.
And Finnish. And French and Norwegian, a crazy mix.
Oh,
but
my.
We often sit watching films and do bad Mission Impossible Eastern European accents at each other, And would you like some vodka? Oh, fantastic. and he makes vodka into this funny thing called a martini, which is. But no, he gets very emotional when he looks like films like Eastern Promises, where the guy is playing a balalaika, I think, and he's singing, the famous Russian songs and stuff. But I probably agree with you. Yes, the Russians steal everything.
They like to use the word garbage. This is garbage.
Garbage.
I say, Barbie. That reminded me. We missed our window because you do that wonderful Melania, and I do the Trump. We were supposed to do. Jason never wrote the scripts. We missed our window.
Honestly, it's so funny though because I was
It's all Jason's fault. He should have wrote the scripts. I need to get it better. Jason, you're fired. Get out of the cabinet. We get someone else to put in the cabinet. We'll lock the cabinet.
Oh no! Please, just shut the fuck up. I'm trying to do
Melania, just keep ripping out the roses. It's fine. We'll make sure we get a better writer. It's okay.
You want to hear something eerie? This new app you can get on your phone called Rimini, and it makes you look young again and brilliant. It clears up all your old photographs, and it's wonderful. And I had this photograph from the 80s where I was doing a Hellman's mayonnaise ad for Northern Ireland. And I had to play like this Madonna lookalike. So I just put my hair up, and those were the days I had a waistline. And I found the photograph. I thought, I look really cute there. Why don't I give it a Rimini job? And it made me look like Melania. I thought, oh my God, this is uncanny. Because my mother, equally, it was Slovenian. Sort of Slovenian girl makes good, but not so good because she married an orange. But it's weird because seeing this famous Slovenian, I'm a famous Slovenian too.
You are a famous Slovenian. My favorite one out of the three that you mentioned, or the two rather. Sorry.
And I just learned that not only are you a famous Slovenian, but you have the talent of giving yourself a Rimini job.
Right. It's very flexible.
Like
I know.
It really does. I need that too. I need a remedy job. What is it called? Remedy?
Rim.
Oh, Rimini.
I really
go
wish.
With rim and then
So I really wish we could just make it on these apps do our own faces or my own face.
You have a beautiful face.
You look fantastic.
You look beautiful, darling.
Thank you.
You are
Simon.
beautiful.
You could use our you could.
Simon, you can use a remedy job yourself.
It's so strange. I used to have I just didn't cut my hair for like 18 months, and then I thought, fuck it, I got these special scissors and I cut it, and it doesn't look bad.
That's really cute. You look like Madonna. You actually do look like Madonna.
Oh, thank you. I saw her on the Jimmy Fallon show the other day, and I thought, oh, she looked like she puffed out a bit, which makes her look more like me, I suppose. So.
Except yours is organic, sweetie, and everybody knows it. That bitch pumps it in like nobody's business. She gets a lot of rim jobs, whatever the fuck.
I've always admired her because she always looked she kept in shape, but obviously, probably like, I don't know about you guys, but I put on 10 pounds during the pandemic. Except the first 7 months, I didn't put on any weight at all, and then it sort of went.
Did it make that noise?
Everyone hates when I talk about my COVID experience because actually through COVID I lost 60 pounds.
You were 60? What?
You look so much slimmer than the last time. I should have said something. Your face is like a little tiny thing.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I love. All the venues shut down and all of that, and I was kind of left to my own devices. And because I couldn't work, I couldn't buy food. So there, I lost 60 pounds like that. I'm joking. No, but but yeah, no. Through COVID, I lost 60 pounds, and while everyone else was gaining the COVID-19.
Right, you lost
weight. Gained COVID-20.
Yeah.
COVID-20. Is it called COVID-20?
Well,
COVID-19.
What I gained is.
COVID-19 is what Bill Cosby likes. Oh, I'm sorry. He actually prefers COVID-15. 19's too old. Anyway, that's another show.
Actually, Adele lost 60 pounds as well. You know, the singer.
Oh wow!
And this
Yeah.
woman actually wrote this wonderful article saying, Adele, you let us fat girls down. We always had you to look up because you were still fucking successful, right?
I love Adele. Adele.
Sorry?
I said Adele has got such a great sense of humor. I love her. It's just that her music, her songs, they're so wonderful. At the same time, it's like every time she comes out with a new song, I come up with a reason not to live. They're always very sad. You know what I mean? They should come with a suicide warning. This song is lovely, but you may feel the urge to throw yourself into a tub with a live wired blow dryer. You know what I mean?
That almost mirrors a scene in a Bond film, which of course she sang Skyfall, didn't she? Which was fabulous.
Oh.
But are we edging away from horror?
We are. Let's talk about Dad, shall we?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I actually, you know, Jason, you took the words right out of my mouth because
Must have been while you were kissing me.
Yes, that's my next tribute. Is we're gonna call it Gravy and Onions because we cover meatloaf. But no, so you know, we've had Barbie and Simon on before to talk about Dark Ditties because that whole series is like a Cenobite reunion. I mean, you have the female Cenobite. There's Butterball. There's Chatterers on there as well.
Ollie.
There's Skin Frank.
Yeah, right, and Skinless Frank.
And Channard, Ken Cranham is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a great series. I mean, first off, I mean, it's also I'm sure. And how is it for you guys to kind of have it be like a Hellraiser reunion in order to do these really wonderful shows together?
Well, on the last one, the one that's about to come out in London tomorrow, sadly, Barbie and I didn't get to do a scene together. We were in different parts of the country, but we are both in this second one, which is fun.
Yeah,
and it's a really they sent us a crew screening recently, and it's a wonderful. We knew the script was good, but it's come together so well. It's really dark, very moving.
Yeah,
Go on, Bobby. Sorry.
I know. When I read the script, I thought this is the guy's Meisterstück. It was great. It was like, you know, because I've even though I've written a zombie story myself, which is really bizarre because it starts at Rorke's Drift in South Africa during the Zulu Wars and ends up in Milton Keynes, and it's disgusting. But this film, but I don't like zombies that much. But this was so exceptional. This script,
that is a zombie film.
Wonderful, unique elements to it, and I have to say that Mr. Bamford here, you know, your emotional core is so amazing in this film. The things you have to go through.
Is he the dad? Are you the dad, Simon?
There's a lot of characters in it who are all dads, it turns out. So we all have backstories that the film goes into about how we've got to where we are and how that's relates to either our children or our children relate to us. So, but the lead two characters. Thank you, Barbie. By the way, thank you very much. I have to say, I was nervous because they sent me a little snippet about 6 months ago of just that. I have a big emotional scene at the end, and I saw it and thought, oh shit, I've gone way too far over the top. You know, because it was out of sequence. It just looked like horrendous overacting, and I thought, oh, this is going to be awful. It's going to be a nightmare when it comes out. But actually, in the context of everything else, and with some nice music, it kind of works. And
the music always helps. Yeah.
Please don't do the soundtrack of me running along these corridors going. Well,
there's a reason. There's some sort of crazed guy with a freaking weird-looking knife running after you. But no. Oh no! Spoilers. It's a zombie film. You're gonna expect
it's gonna happen. Wait, you mean there's zombies in the zombie film? Oh, come on! You know.
But the other thing that if you guys, you know, while you're waiting for Dad, if you haven't checked out Mrs. Wiltshire.
Oh,
Which
I
I
mean,
have to say is
Simon, is she here?
Mr. Simon's Mr. Simon.
Oh, is she here? She was on my show. Where is she?
Yeah.
yeah. Where's is she? Is
Where
she?
is she?
Can you grab her? Can
She had
can
like
we see her?
She had 4 martinis. You don't want to end up like her. Let's see.
So-
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, I thought we were talking about.
So you
he's
know
going-
he's going to get her.
Irene.
Okay,
So
he's going to get her.
so
4 martinis
so
in.
I had mentioned this, I think, the last time that we were all on together, that I watched Mrs. Wiltshire and I received, chills throughout the whole thing. But then he gets to that, like, almost like that penultimate scene,
Mhm.
and there she
Oh my
is.
God,
Oh, there she
That
is.
mental.
But you know what? The thing is that Simon is not animating that amazing makeup because you believe. I mean, we're just sitting there going, "Is
I mean,
Simon there?"
Like he became Mrs. Wiltshire.
Yeah,
He
I
actually
mean,
became her.
there was so much, and the thing is,
Good
especially
job, Rosa.
like I've said,
Rosa.
and like I said, in that penultimate scene where Simon and Mrs. Wiltshire and her son are there together,
Dog's eating her face. You might want to move, Mrs. Wiltshire.
just giving grandma kisses. That's all. Just giving grandma kisses. But I found myself, after being scared and startled with all this build up, I found myself crying at your performance. It was so beautiful and sincere. That, I mean, it was so moving. And again, you see that sincerity in all of the in all of the episodes. That's the thing, is it's not something that is just like, it's not about the jump scare. It's about the real true emotion.
Yeah.
Well, that's the big punch in Dad, is it's an incredibly emotional film. And actually there aren't that many zombies in it. It's set in the future, so all the dark ditties are beginning to connect in the same universe. And so this is beginning to pull a lot of the story threads together. So it's all set in the future after this zombie apocalypse has happened. But it does have the lead character is a young man who's trying to lead his father through this apocalypse, trying to guide him through it. But his father's got dementia, so the dementia gives it a really, really, I mean, it's got some heartbreaking scenes. And I remember actually watching one of the final scenes when they were filming it, and I could only watch one take because I was just so moved to tears watching these two actors do these beautiful performances. So yeah, really exciting. It'd be great to see it with an audience.
It is a stunning achievement, I think, because also the production values were really great, and the effects and stuff like that. And you're thinking, wow, it's so hard being an independent filmmaker these days, and they did a fantastic job. They really did, but they've done a fantastic job of each one of the episodes, really.
And a little bit of leakage I'm allowed to do. I have the script for the season finale, which is the next one we're shooting, and this lovely lady is actually coming back. So,
I love that.
Put the dress on, but she's in her 50s, whereas she's in her kind of 80s here. So that's going to be interesting. I think maybe there won't be that much prosthetics. It will just be me. But yeah, I've got to work out as a 50-year-old woman. But I think
You're like a very dramatic Mrs. Doubtfire. Yes.
Mrs. Doubtfire. The Mrs. Doubtfire.
Looks like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh god, I'm excited to see that kind of that reverse evolution of Mrs. Wiltshire, and seeing her in her 50s, and already what we've learned so much about her story, about the story having already happened, that in her 50s she's now in the midst of it, and
Yes.
Maybe that naivete, that because like in Mrs. Wiltshire, she's kind of that discovery of how naive she was, and that becoming and allowing it to come to the front of what her truth is, kind of like seeing her in the moment, and how that will be interesting to see.
She's not in the film for very long, as that I'm playing two characters there, but she's not in it for very long, but exactly that, she's at the period that she's in the film, which is set in the 1980s, her kids are with her, and her kids are kids, so they are being abused. She knows that they're being abused at that time, so she's trying to hide all of that. So there's going to be a lot to work with. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to bring her back to see her again.
It's like a horror within a horror, because it's the horrors of real life and then a horror film in itself. So it's like it's got levels of horror. Yeah.
So
speaking, are you two actually horror fans yourself of the genre?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
I'm very picky. Sorry, I'm very picky about my horror. I grew up with an older brother who said, "Creature feature Saturday afternoon. Let's watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers." And I'm like 9, and we're watching films where parents put pods under babies' beds so the aliens can take over the baby and become them.
Yeah, very
and then another one was Invaders from Mars, where the parents to get taken over by Martians and try and get the kid getting drilled in the back by the Martians. This is the 60s versions of these films. And it was like, I trusted my parents, but I checked my dad's neck to make sure he hadn't been drilled by aliens when he came up from the basement.
I got to tell you right now, if I find out when I go to sleep, I'll wake up and I'll just be a drone and not have a care in the world, I might be okay with that.
Yeah.
But not if you're trying to topple a missile down, and all this.
Okay.
But no, it's just that those kind of horror movies made a huge impression on me, and yet the sci-fi ones, like The Day the Earth Stood Still, not the Keanu version, with lovely Michael Rennie. I had this huge sympathy towards aliens, and my father loved sci-fi, and so for me it was the sci-fi thing, but also the Twilight Zone.
Great, the Twilight Zone.
All
so
the
amazing.
The Rod Serling things.
Yes, the Rod Serling. He's a brilliant writer. Amazing. Yeah. Also, was there ever a horror film for me? Being brought up Greek, The Exorcist scared the living shit out of me. Okay. Yeah. Linda Blair, I have a joke about Linda Blair. She said it actually ruined her career because she was typecasted. I'm like, it ruined my relationship with Jesus because I could never look at the crucifix again. So I think I win, Linda. Okay, go diddle yourself. But this was one of those films that really impacted me. Do you guys have a film that you remember that like either scared the crap out of you or something that was like that really struck you when you were younger?
Rosemary's Baby, the one that used to get me because of that whole kind of paranoid world that is happening around her.
You couldn't trust anybody.
Right.
Sorry?
You couldn't trust anyone.
No, that's right. And Mia Farrow, the most beautiful, wonderful actress, and I just thought it was a great film. It was mind-blowing that everybody in this, all these wonderful neighbors in this apartment block, and turns out to be part of this coven. Is it a coven?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know the word coven. You're the best. I'm crazy about you. Know this.
Yeah. I think Salem's Lot for me when the kid was in the the kid was in the window tapping on the window. Let me in. That still haunts me to this day.
Which film was that?
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
That was a scary one. Rosemary's Baby, though, Simon, I have to agree with you. Those characters were so colorful. They would give Mrs. Wilkshire a run for her money. The woman, the way she talked about, like the way she used to talk, it was very comedic. There was so much, funny. There were so many funny moments, but it was really scary.
That was played by Ruth Gordon, who was absolutely brilliant.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know. I can't remember if I saw the actual film, but I remember reading the book when I was 13. I always thought it was Dracula was my first horror novel, but it was actually, I read Rosemary's Baby because I was on a cot in my dad's little library thing. Well, because my grandmother was sleeping. She slept in my bed. And, when I was a kid, I don't care, but then I found this book hidden in the shelves behind Winston Churchill's, autobiography, because that's the normal thing that he used to read. And I just thought, whoa, what is this? And it was very, whoa. But I think the film that actually scared me the most in the cinema was definitely, I think Exorcist is right up there, but it has, for me, especially the amazing pre-release publicity. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Right.
Oh,
And
Alien.
sci-fi horror, which really scared me. But throughout the whole beginning, I was absolutely terrified. Oh, no. I was scared because the monster looked kind of big. But when it burst out of his chest,
Oh, yeah.
and it was this horrible squidgy thing, because I have issues with like internal body horror stuff.
Yeah.
That just sent me into, I was watching it like this.
Right.
And my boyfriend at the time said, I paid £8 for you to come.
You son of a bitch. Give yourself a selfie when you go home.
But also, you know this scene where poor old John Hurt is looking down into the egg and you see this thing. It took me about 3 or 4 watchings of that film on TV and in the cinema before I could actually keep my eyes open to watch that one scene.
So you actually watched it to adjust?
Well, no,
Like,
just it would come up on TV and that's what
okay.
alien. I went,
I got to keep going until I'm numb to this. Keep putting it on.
I suppose. Well, no, this is over years, but it is a masterful thing.
That was brilliant.
I think the ones that, oh God, their last 2. I didn't see the last one. I was very looking forward to seeing the one with Naomi
Campbell?
No. The gal who was in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the original. But also Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender's in it, and Charlize Theron.
Yes.
Oh, Prometheus.
Now, I had such high hopes for that, and I don't know what you guys thought, but
I just like when she got crushed at the end by the giant ship. That was a neat scene.
She deserved that. And I have such a girl crush on Charlize.
Oh, she's beautiful. Monster, what she did with her body for Monster, one of the best films ever. She's just an extraordinary actress. But horror films, the scariest horror films, I think, are the things that we don't expect. Like even like Nightmare with Elm Street, something that tapped into
Nightmare with Elm Street.
We have this visceral fear of sleeping, and all of a sudden these knives come out. I actually felt that with Hellraisers. You know, I think Clive Barker is a genius. We never saw something like that at the time, and it was very, very frightful because it taps into the visceral fear that we have as humans. Like Freddy was going into our sleeps, the devil possessing us, somebody taking over, hijacking your father as a pod or whatever, or in this case, you playing with, Jason and I call it the Rubik's Cube, the satanic thing that can actually bring you and cause a lot of incredible pain for you. So it's all very scary because we've never seen that before.
Remember, Irene as a kid would see somebody solving a Rubik's Cube and say, "No, don't release the demons."
Don't do that. I've often said,
my husband.
I often said that of course Clive is in a category by himself, but he invented a new kind of monster, and that's not that easy to do. You know, when you think, werewolves, vampires, and I think that, but also being Clive, he added a new element, and it's called sex. And Frank is going out and open that box to get to be taken to the ultimate of sensual,
pleasure.
And I'm sold. Yeah. I am sold on that now.
I love your geekiness, sweetie. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's actually why I think the part of the reason why we had both you and Simon back for a second interview was to actually talk about the love theme of Hellraiser, that at the heart of it is a love story.
Absolutely.
And it's dark, it's twisted, it's about pain, which I think we all can attest love is that as well. But of course, Clive took it to a very extreme level of what pain is.
What if he came back? What if Skinless Frank sucked all the juices from all the victims and he ended up looking like Paul Giamatti? Would she still have loved him?
Maybe
what's wrong with Paul, huh?
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that I always thought was so glorious about the character of Julia is that she was so obsessed with this guy, and it's not really love, it's obsession. And I unfortunately have experienced that kind of feeling, is that that I was obsessed about someone for a long time, but I didn't rip this good, hit men over the hammer so he could suck their essence out to get his skin back. But you have to admire that kind of dedication.
You have to admire her dedication. She was obsessed with him and infatuated with him, and she definitely tricked some guys. She was the puss mag, if we will, that went into the lion's den. These guys were. I love the guys that she chose. They were always infinitely dumb, and you were rooting for them to get killed.
Yes,
hey, baby.
I think it's fascinating that in Hellraiser 2, she's kind of pissed off with Frank. And there's that marvelous moment when they're kissing and she rips his heart out from behind, which can't be easy. And she goes, what's her line? No probs, babe, or something, What did she say? I can't remember.
I remember, Barbie. She said, it's just nothing personal, babe.
Nothing personal, babe.
Right. Nothing personal, babe.
I'm now going to eat your heart and laugh as you die crumbled on the floor. Or even crumpled. But
that was my ex's last words to me too. It always resonated.
Oh God, no. It's Hellraiser. I think is the first one, especially for me, is truly very unique. And it did disturb me so much. I've said this many times, I almost didn't go to the audition. And because I thought, I don't want to play, as my friend Janice from Glasgow said, do you really want to play a sucky monster? And, but I called up my friend Jeff and from Lancashire. I won't torture you with trying to do a Lancashire accent, but he said, go on, Bobby. You do it, you'll be Barbie Wilde, Queen of the Bees, B movies, because I'd already done Death Wish 3. All my movies have numbers after the titles. And but it was very disturbing. That film.
I agree. When I first saw it, like I said, it was the first of its kind. It's so difficult to break through in a genre that everything's been played out, everything's been done, and it's like, I'm not a zombie fan either, like you said, Barbie, but this is a new kind of zombie. This is like the dead coming back from hell, and it was just so disturbing. I think disturbing is how I found it disturbing too. But you have to keep watching because it's intriguing. You have to keep watching it.
Yeah. Right.
Well, listen, I was gonna say you almost become like you almost become like the characters. You become infatuated.
Right.
It's like that kind of like toxic.
It becomes the new normal for you.
It does. Yes, it does.
That's right, Jason.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead, sweetie. Go.
No. It's just that when I do conventions and stuff, and people come up to my table and I have all the pictures of me as a Cenobite. One picture from Death Wish 3. Then I sell one picture at convention. And they go and they, wow, you're so beautiful. But they're not looking at me. They're looking at the bald, meat-fleshed woman with a very dodgy wound in her throat. And it always, it's lovely, but it always amazes me. But of course, she is kind of beautiful in a powerful way.
Actually, I always saw your beauty shining through, like literally, like physically beautiful. I'm not just saying that. I always
Even
thought,
now.
She is so hot. I would suffer for this bitch in a second. Wrap me up in chains. I'll do it. Yes.
Would you suck some man juice to become a human again? That sounded bad. That did not sound good.
Yes, it did sound bad.
I was referring to. I'm going to stop on that note.
Hellraiser gave me so many triggers. It's like Jason and we joke about the Rubik's Cube, but there was sewing that was a trigger, latex that was a trigger. There was like so many fucking triggers after that movie, honestly. Chains were a trigger.
Chains are good. No, listen, I want to do a tiny little plugette. Because I did write a short story that appeared in something called The Hellbound Hearts. The short story is based on the original novel that Clive wrote called The Hellbound Heart. And I wrote a sort of a backstory for a female Cenobite And if you all want to read that, it's pretty fucking disgusting.
Where can we find it?
It's still on Amazon. It's still on Amazon. They're still selling Hellbound Hearts. I actually wrote a trilogy of stories where she goes to back into Paris and gets Le Marchand to build her own box so she can make more female Cenobites.
Oh my God, I love it.
That's
I
great.
love it.
And
So
then
be
I wrote
sure-
a story about the female Cenobite rebellion in hell. And because she decides she's just going to get this super team, sort of like the A-Team. You know, she gets these like different characters from history that are in hell and female, and she sort of causes chaos in hell. Unfortunately, the book this appeared in, My Beautiful Voices of the Damned, has gone out of print. Every story had art to it, but I'm looking for, I'm going to get it, the 3 Cenobite stories published. I'm working on a 4th one too. Because she eventually meets a character from history where sort of makes perfect sense for her to meet. But it's the first story is still available. So horrible, shameless plug.
No,
Not
that's
shameless.
amazing.
Pick up Hellbound Hearts by Barbie Wilde on Amazon because I will
No.
be doing that.
It's edited by Paul Kane and Maria Reagan. It's got stories and artwork from Neil Gaiman.
Wow.
Pete Atkins has got a story in there. He wrote the script to Hellbound and I think didn't he write Hellraiser 3 as well? Simon?
Paul Kane.
No,
Oh,
Pete Atkins.
Yes.
Sorry. What day is it?
Simon, do you have anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
I was just going to say about, seeing as we're on the subject of Hellbound Hearts, about maybe briefly touching on the new Hellraiser reboot, which they just wrapped in Serbia. I think they're talking to Dougie as well, that we're going to do a little bit of filming in America as well. But the androgynous, evidently that the original Pinhead was an androgynous character. And they have gone along that route with the casting of Jamie Long as Pinhead, which I think is fascinating. Did you see Sense8?
That makes sense.
I think she'll be really good. I texted Clive yesterday and said I'm really excited about it, and it sounds like it will be the right direction to go. So I can't wait, to be honest, and to see a Hellraiser with a decent budget behind it again. Because Spyglass Entertainment is behind it, so there's a much more prestigious cast and crew involved. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be very different.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the twisted nature of it.
And
Irene,
I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful because Clive, that's his name, is involved as producer.
Okay, yeah, I've got confidence in it then. Yes.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that that would be something that he would obviously put his stamp of approval on, something that's
Well, listen, Simon and Barbie, it's about that time we must wrap it up. And Irene, I love you guys. You are dear friends of the show. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much for joining us. Irene, oh my God, that scared me.
oh, she's back.
Be sure to check out Barbie's book. And Dad, don't forget Dad.
Dad.
Yes.
Awesome.
The premiere tomorrow in London.
Woo!
Awesome.
Irene,
Fantastic.
thank you so much
Oh
for
my
joining
God,
us.
this was so much fun. Simon, you know I already love you. Barbie, I'm madly in love with you. Jason, thank you so much. Justin,
you.
this was so much fun. Thank you.
This was so much
Great
fun.
to see you
Really
again,
had
Irene.
a great pleasure to meet you. Thank you guys for inviting us on the show. And just I was going to say, like I said, I have very high hopes for this reboot or new idea for Hellraiser. So, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. And good night.
Bye.